Hello, good morning. Welcome to Stamp and Chat. Let us just make sure we're in the right place. Today is Tuesday, the 15th of April. I do not know how we're halfway through April already. If someone can tell me why this is happening. God, I'm as blind as a bat now without my glasses on. Yes, time is just whizzing by. So today, I feel a little unprepared and I don't like creating kind of on the fly. I'm not very good at that just because I'm such a faffer. But I'm going to create a scrapbook layout for you today and just create with some new products that are coming our way in May next month. So we've got some online exclusives coming and also we've got the new annual catalogue. So I thought I'd create with some new things that I've got. I'm going to share a couple of new colours with you that I'll be using. And also I wanted to just quickly show you some scrapbook layouts for a class this month as well. So scrapbooking is such a lovely thing to do. I think it's, as much as I love creating cards and gift boxes and things like that, I think scrapbooking is something that we do for us. And I don't know about you, but I've got thousands of photos on my phone that I need to print off some of them and get them into an album so that these memories will become preserved. So I think scrapbooking is just a lovely way of sharing your memories and sort of passing it down to the younger generation so that they can actually see through a picture the story of what actually happened in that photo, rather than either seeing it on your phone or a packet of photos. We've all got packets of photos. I've got boxes of packets of photos from years gone by. I've been a scrapbooker for many years, but it has taken a sidestep the last couple of years. So without further ado, let's get you down on my desk. I'm going to flip through some of my layouts from this month's class and then we're going to get stuck into creating one together. So bear with the palm of the hands. Let's make a bit of space because we might need a bit more room. Jiggle you around a bit. Get some light on. Hopefully we're going to be able to zoom, because otherwise all you're going to see is my feet. I don't know why it does this. Sometimes it just does not want to work. And seeing my feet is not great. Okie dokie. Right, I'll leave you zoomed out for a little bit, but we'll try and get this grid paper somewhat straight. Wait for the catch up. So, let us see. Now, I haven't done all titles on all of these layouts. The titles and the journaling are what, for me, sort of come at the end. But I've partially done this one. And my title will be You Bring So Much Joy. And the products that I've focused on for this class are from the Everyday You and Me kind of bundle and suite collection. We have a scrapbooking workshop kit that goes with this. I've been sharing the papers and the sticker sheets that go with it as well. So this is Luca. I've covered over his face with a circle of cardstock just because he's not my child to splash around the internet. And although Sophie shares pictures of him on her personal page and stories, she is in control of who sees that. And obviously I have no control who is watching this. And this also gets uploaded to YouTube so anybody can look. But basically I've stuck with the colours from the paper pack. I've used Pecan Pie, Lost Lagoon, Grey Granite. We've also got Wild Wheat in here. And I've just created with the papers. Good evening, Renee. How are you doing? I'm just sharing some scrapbook layouts. So I'm not going to be making, I was planning to make a card today, And then I kind of switched it up. On Friday, I was like, maybe I'll do a scrapbook page and a card. And quite frankly, we're just having a scrapbook page today. I've got all the sketches for cards, but nothing I got as far as the scrapbook layout, and that was it. So this one here has a little flip flap, which I haven't done anything with yet. And I need to go back through my phone. This was from a year ago, just under a year ago, June last year. And I'm sure I've got more photos of when I took Luca to the park of him on this swing. So the flip flaps look like this. Where am I? So these are the 3x4 ones, and they come in like 2 orientations, as you can see, and you can literally stack them on top of each other. They've got this self-adhesive strip, and then you can just stick multiple things. What I'm thinking with this one is popping my journaling on the back of here, because I like to journal. I like people to be able to know what's happened on that day, even if it's just something as simple as going for a little swing and going to the park, but just to sort of tell that story. But I don't really like my handwriting on view. Not that I've got really awful handwriting, but I just like to have it hidden. So you'll see through my layouts, I have little pockets and things. So I always put tabs and things like this so that I can create dates. I've got an amazing stamp set. I don't know how old this stamp set is, but in the days gone by when Stampin' Up did Project Life, I never got rid of this stamp set. It's absolutely so valuable. It's got all the months and the days of the week, and I use it a lot when I'm scrapbooking. And you can also print things off on your computer as well. So, Renee, do you do a bit of scrapbooking, or is it not really your thing? So I was a scrapbooker before I was a card maker. So there's a little fun fact. Okay, next one is Mama's Little Bestie. And I created my word Mama from that same stamp set, and I literally cut out letters to make the word Mama, and I'm replicating what's on Luca's top here. So again, I've just paper pieced, and I've got sketches of all of these. You all know I work from a sketch. Let's just go to my sketchbook and see. I'm just going to cancel something out there just so I don't want to show you the bottom bit of that notebook, because that's my scribble of notes. But I just sit down and do some sketches of layouts, and that's where all these 6 layouts came from. So, and I am thinking of maybe doing like an online scrapbooking class somehow. Need to do a bit more brainstorming on that. So this one, pretty simple again, just some pieces of the cardstock. I tend to be quite thrifty on how I cut my cards, my pattern paper, so I may cut it at 6-inch strips and then turn it into 6-inch squares so that it goes a little further. This was at Goodwood last year where Jason raced, and I just had to take a picture of these lovely tents or these beautiful daffodils. And then this here is one of my hidden pockets, so this will become a little journaling, and I'm going to do a little hidden pocket on my scrapbook layout today. So I'll be doing some journaling on there, and it's just kind of hidden and out of the way. Another great stamp set, I've got a pile of products to share with you, is this one here called Love This Moment. Renee, you were a scrapbooker too before you were a card maker. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I was heavily into scrapbooking. I have got many albums here full of layouts from years gone by. And bearing in mind, I started Stampin' Up 15 years ago. So it's probably maybe a good 12 months before that I actually really got into crafting. So, but this stamp set here is currently on the last chance list, and it was £19 and it's down to £9.50. But I do use this a lot as well, just these little words that you can pop in. I'm going to be using it today. Got these little elements as well, and these lines which are really good, which I've used here, that you could just do your journaling on, could put your date on. I've put mine there. Another good die set that I love that isn't carrying over is the Unbounded Love. This is a really good scrapbooky one, because you've got all these little labels and frames. You've also got the foliage as well, which is really good. So I love that one for scrapbooking. Another one that's carrying over is the alphabet a la mode. So that one is a really good one. Love that. Great for your cards as well. So that's the one I've used here. And then we've got another one of the little bean. We call him a little bean because he's growing just like a beanstalk. He's getting really tall. So I've just put lots of there's lots of white space on this one. I particularly love this one. This is just literally a sheet of the DSP. It's just got that lovely mottled kind of ombre effect. And I've just added simple foliage behind. I will put some dates and things on these tabs, but I tried to keep that one like nice and white. This one here, again, really simple layout, just strips of pattern paper, some of the two-tone cardstock here. This is two-tone cardstock, so it's a slightly different colour on the other side. I've used an embossing folder just to create a little interest behind. I've not stuck this one down properly. There's a little bit of Tombow on there, but maybe a date or more words with you, more words or little things like that. The Love Every Moment is from the Everyday You and Me. That's a really good one for layouts because that can go on so many. And this is basically just to sort of commemorate all of the Sunday coffees that Jay and I go on, and the coffee shops and pastries that we partake in on our weekends. And then this one here, again using the two-tone cardstock and the other half of that piece of pattern paper, just more flowers. So there's a theme. I just stamped loads of flowers and just kind of set down. And this was one lovely Sunday when we took the dogs over to, now it's gone out of my head where it is, but over near the Forest of Dean, I think it is, Beechinhurst, I think it's called. Could be wrong. No, maybe it's not. But they've got like a nature trail, a Gruffalo, I don't know if it's a Gruffalo trail, but a nature trail, lovely woods that you can walk through, got a playground and a cafe. It does get really busy over there, but we went with all the children and the grandchildren, had a lovely day. So that's my 6 layouts. And like I've said, they are available as a class this month, but I'm thinking of maybe somehow doing something online with them as well. So look at this pop of colour, absolutely adoring this, but it is scaring me. So we've got 2 new colours here, although I haven't used this one yet. I've pulled it out, but I'm not sure whether it's going to appear on my layout. I don't think it is, but it could well. So we've got Berry Burst, we've got Timid Tiger, which is a new in colour. We've got Strawberry Slush, which is a new in colour. I've pulled out some Bubble Bath and some Old Olive. And these are all colours that feature in the Cheers and Sips kind of collection, the suite of products. Renna, you're going back to doing more scrapbooking now. Yes, I just love it. I think it's something we do for us. It's something we get to keep. Like I said, as much as I love creating things for other people, there is a big place in my heart for scrapbooking too. So the Cheers and Sips. Now this is an online exclusive product coming in May. I was able to pre-order this at Onstage when I went last month. We were having a discussion on, because I really liked it, but sometimes you look at a stamp set and you think, oh, how many cards can I make with, you know, a tropical drink on or a cocktail? But you have to sort of look outside of the book and sort of see what else you can do with it. These are how our dies come. You always see mine on the magnet sheets, but they come in these packets which are really great for storing. And then they come on a card like this. Now, you could store yours in these, but because my dies get so much use, I find it, let's leave them out actually, much easier to put them on a magnetic sheet, and then I can just access them much faster. So we've got our dies that coordinate with the stamped images. And then we've also got this really lovely, you'll see this in action, die here, which doesn't actually cut, it adds texture. So it's very clever. So we've got lots of dies here. We've got for the mint, the strawberry, for the raspberry, for the ice cubes. And this, what I've created today, what I'm going to create, is my first play with this set. So it's been here for a little while, just have not had time to create any more. Another new sneak peek product that I'm going to use is the Glass and Gardens embossing folders. Now these are great because they work inside the mini, but this one particular, you're going to see this better when I use it. It's so beautiful, and this one looks great to create like a nice effect on one of these stamped images, like a nice sort of chunky cut glass. I'm trying to think of the word, what they're called. If anyone is on or can enlighten me, like crystal cut glass, I think that's what I'm thinking. It sort of creates that nice effect, but it's also just good for every day as well. Let's put those over by my machine. I'm also going to be using just a couple of dies from this set here. Let me grab the stamp set. This is also another new one coming on the online exclusive. I seem to have kind of pre-ordered lots of online exclusive products, and I think that's mainly because the new catalogue that's coming, which is this one, and I cannot show you inside just yet, it won't be long, time is whizzing by. There's some lovely things in here. For pre-order, I wasn't really in love with too many of the items on the list because we only get to pre-order a selection. So I chose a couple of things, but I think the majority of things that I got were from the online exclusives that are coming. So I'm not using the stamps, but I'm going to be using some of the dies from here. This is beautiful. We'll put those out of the way. Put that one back on my shelf because I seem to be losing stuff a lot at the minute. And then the papers that I'm using for my layout, I am going to be using some of this one, the Sweet as a Bee, Cute as a Bee, Cute as Can Be, which is also, this is a scrapbooking, in the scrapbooking brochure. But this has just got some really sweet colours, sweet patterns. You've got the B-sides, literally the B-side, and then you've got the pattern side as well, which are lovely. So I'm going to be using some of that. That down there in case I need it. And then this is the celebratory sips. Yep, my memory is serving me right. And this set, let's grab it all out, is absolutely beautiful. I can just see so much potential. Let's get some full sheets. So we've got some very busy sides on here, but just look at the potential for fussy cutting these out. That looks like a lovely jug of sangria there, but just think how quick and easy you could create a card by fussy cutting some of these out. On the reverse here we've got like the strawberry slush side, and the colours in here which I was inspired by are Berry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, Bubble Bath, Cloud Cover, which is our new in colour that sadly we don't have an ink for, because there are some problems with manufacturing. We've got Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lime Twist, Old Olive, Peach Pie, Pretty in Pink, Secret Sea, another new one, Strawberry Slush, and Timid Tiger, which are both new ones. So let me just show you Timid Tiger. It does look quite bright, but I quite like it. It's kind of got like a peachy feel to it. Here's another in colour as well, Darling Duckling. I think the lids, you can never go on the lid. You have to go on the stamped image. And also the cardstock as well can feel like very deep in colour, but when you stamp with it, it's different. So we've got this lovely side. And then we've got this beautiful pattern here with like the Bubble Bath and the Berry Burst and the Old Olive. You could use Mossy Meadow with this. it's just beautiful. The Blackberry Bliss, absolutely stunning. And then the other side is just this lovely old olive pattern. And these just work so beautifully together. And this is sort of quite a different sheet compared to all the others in the set. So then you've got these here, which I'm going to be using one of these today. And they're designed, I think, to be able to create drinks with. The reverse on this one is the cloud cover, which is the blue colour that is a new in colour. These are brilliant for cutting out and very inspiring. So it gives us here a little hint of how we can use these ice cubes. So we could create a lovely like watercolour effect using our stamps, and then with the white ink just add some ice there. So that's a lovely sheet. What's on the reverse? We've got a lovely berry burst pattern there. And then we've got another busy one, citrusy one, which if you're doing a scrapbook layout, you know, you could use that. That's quite busy for me. But the reverse of it is also very dark, but I'm sure there will be uses for that. And this one is the Secret Sea, the new in colour. So that is that one. And you could fussy cut these out as well, but they're quite like watercolory. So they're not like, they've not got great definition. They're kind of watercolory. This is one of my favourite sheets as well. And this reminds me of a photo I've got of Sophie and Luca, where Sophie's wearing a dress that's got a really similar print to this. But the reverse side of it is the timid tiger. So a lovely stripe there. So such beautiful, usable patterns on here. And I'm excited to explore a bit more with those. So let's pop all of those away. We might need some of those in a minute. I've already cut some bits and pieces. Where is my pack? So I've done myself a pack. And who is on? Got a couple of you on here. So I have been wanting to scrapbook for some time. Probably the last time I did do some scrapbooking for a class last month. And I have done like mini albums in the past. And for some of you, I felt really inspired. Belle in my team, Belle Green, Inca Belle, you need to go and follow her. She did a scrapbook layout last week on her live. And it made me think that I don't need to just share cards and packaging with you. Like some of you who love to scrapbook, you can, you know, follow along and maybe recreate what I've done with my layout too. But watching Belle reminded me of this little album, which there are hardly any pages in here. It's something I started and didn't get around to finishing. Now I'm losing a slot out of my pocket. But this is something we have in our current catalogue. I'm going to see if I can grab one and find them, which I should have done page 26 ahead of time, but so we have in the general catalogue at the moment, we have on page 26 we've got our memories and more cards, which are cards like this, and this is a new one that is coming. They come in packs of 2 different sizes that fit in, so they're 3x4 and 6x4 that fit in slots in this album. Where's the actual album then? Let me find. Let's go back to, excuse me. It says the album's on here. Oh, here it is. So you've got the pocket pages. See, this is why our new catalogue that's coming is laid out much easier so that you can find what you're looking for. So we've got pocket pages that go in there and you get a variety pack, and then the actual album on its own is just £10.75 for for this lovely album. But these are some layouts that I did, a few years back. This is Sophie and Vivi. Look how long her hair is. Her hair grows like wildfire. But Vivi was not quite one then, I don't think. And these are like little pocket pages that are separated, and you get a variety of them. And I've just popped in cards from a pack like this, or cut out pattern paper, and just created like little mini, it's hard to see because of the light reflection, but just created little mini kind of scrapbook pages. I've added elements. These are some lovely wooden elements that we had at that time. Vivi's going to be 7 next month. My first grandchild, she's going to be 7. How can that be? But just love creating pages. So this one is unfinished. This was a trip to Dalesford that I did with my friend. And again, just showing how you can create your own pages to go in these albums as well. And that's something that I love. I love doing different sizes of scrapbook layouts. It doesn't have to be 12 by 12. I have done, let's see if I can grab this one, A4 layouts. Okay, so, and I designed those to fit inside like a sketchbook. So there's lots of different ways you can do. You don't have to go 12 by 12. Some people feel a little intimidated by the size, but I find it works. As I've said, I like to scrapbook all different sizes. Right, let's put that to one side and let's get this show on the road. Okay, so I've got lots of bits and pieces here. I've got a couple of photographs because I felt they were just very apt for the theme of the papers, even though I'm not using any of the sides that have got the bottles and things on and the jugs. I'm just going to use the patterns, but I had these in my camera roll, and every now and then I do a little free prints dump where you can get, I think it's 40 free prints every month. It is free prints, isn't it? Yeah. So it's these. So I just go on my camera roll and I like print off a month at a time. So I've got these of me, well, not me in the garden, but in the garden, just having a cheeky gin. And then my little man here, who, the reason he's always photobombing, but the reason behind my story will be that he's just waiting. He can see the gate from here, and he just sits and watches for movement to see if anybody else is coming. So just don't relax, do they? They never relax. So I have planned to use this one here. And as I said, this was last June, and I've trimmed it down so that I've got a matting layer behind it. I always like to put generally a white layer behind my photos just to make them pop out a little. So just checking on comments. My photo, and it's just an 1/8. I think my photo is 3 7/8 by 5 3/4. So my mat is just an 1/8 bigger at 4 inches by 5 7/8. And I try to make sure, because of our size of our A4 here in the UK, that my mat doesn't get bigger than 4 1/8, because then it means I can get at least 4 of these from a sheet of A4. Okay, because it is we're kind of wasting it. We're wasting all that bit behind. So try to get the most out of that. So what I'm going to do to start with is just mount those two together before I stamp on this white layer and use it for something else. So we're just going to stick those together. And I'm going to be working on a sketch. So I have kind of paper pieced this together. I've sort of laid it down, had a look at it. But obviously I didn't want to stick it, because otherwise I'm going to have a duplicate of my layout, which I could do exactly the same layout with a different photo. It wouldn't really matter. But that's my plan. I'll show you my sketch. This is my little sketch of this one. So it's here. So I've got my colours down here, and I have told myself I'm going to use Timid Tiger, but whether I will get to it or not, I don't know. So this is kind of where my sketch will be going, my layout. So I've taken 2 strips from 2 separate pieces of the DSP, and they both measure 3 inches wide. Now, I quite often do layouts like this where I cut strips and then I kind of just like place them. And by cutting a 3-inch strip, I've still got a good chunk left of my paper. I could have cut it at 4, and then I knew I would get 3 like good size pieces to create with. So I'm always quite savvy about how I cut. But I've trimmed off, how long have I gone on this one? 2 inches, I think. Yeah, so this one is 3 inches by 10, and this one is 3 inches by 9. And I'm going to start by just popping it down. Let's just piece it for the moment, and then I will stick it when I'm 100% convinced where they're going. And I'm just looking at my sketch as a guide of where I'm putting my pieces down. I've also taken myself a piece of soft sea foam, and although soft sea foam isn't within the colour palette in the paper, it blends lovely with Old Olive. And because I wanted to put an Old Olive panel over this side, so it's going to be sort of laid out something like this, I didn't want to put obviously an Old Olive piece behind, but also I wanted something else behind it as well. So we're going to stick with that one there. So I'm just going to hold it under. You're going to see my whole process of how I scrapbook, because I kind of lay everything down and then I lift it and stick it. I don't take it all apart. Sometimes I do. I take a photograph of it and then I will lift it all and stick it down. So if you hate scrapbooking, you're probably going to be wondering what you're doing here. But think, if you're not into scrapbooking and it's something you don't want to get into, then just think about this for your card layout. Okay, that's what I'm hoping to do, is create a card. I won't be able to do it during this live because it'll be too long, but create a card using a very similar layout of these products. So my layout is going to be something like this, although I want this piece to come in a bit further, and I'm going to overlap these like this. Now, I've got some other bits and pieces, and I could create, if I'd have had the bigger flip flaps, I could have created pockets to put this in so you could see the multiple photos. But we're going to leave this just with the one photo for now, because my focus is really about my little man. So I've got some scraps here, and we need to do, I'm going to push this just to one side because I want to do some stamping bits first. So let's pull in. We've got the 2 vase. I'm calling them a vase because I'm using one of them as a drink, and one of them is like a planter, I guess. They could both be planters, and this was something we were discussing when we were looking at this set before we'd seen anything created with it, was the fact that although, where's it gone? They are kind of glasses. You could turn them into planters and use the foliage just to put like flowers and things in. So let us start. I'm going to open up the Secret Sea, and I haven't put my little stickers. I like to use the stickers on the back here and just pop them down here so that I've got a quick reference when they're stacked. So we're going to have, trying to remember now, I'm going to have one. Let's just bring in our mat. One, I'm going to stamp the long, taller one. onto crumb cake. Go that way, yeah. And then the other one, I've cut some of the paper. Let's find my scraps. So on this sheet, can't get it out. On this sheet here, we've got all these lovely kind of cocktail glass backgrounds. I've cut one out already. I've cut off a strip and then I've used one, but I think I might just do this one so that I can show you. And I'm literally going to ink up this stamp and just stamp it down on like that. I'm not 100% sure what these kind of tiles are actually for, but this is how I'm going to use one today. So we'll snip those off. And put those away safely. I'm going to snip that one off. Do that one up. It's really stiff because it's new. And then we're just going to cut these two out. Gosh, my bottom plate has got very worn. Pull in the dies. I need to find another magnet sheet. That's why they're still on here. And we're also going to use this really interesting die here. Grab some washi tape and tape these down just so that they don't move. And then I kind of envisaged this tall one as being like a really tall plant. Oops, I need to put this one in as well. Really tall planter. But it is obviously designed to be like a tall cocktail or long drink. So we'll cut those out first. Grab our top plate. Right, let's make sure they're not touching. We don't want to run over your dies with each other, because that won't go down well. By that I mean you don't want your dies to overlap because you'll damage them. So our first one, then we get this lovely, and you can create this effect with blending brushes or with watercolouring. And then the next one, look at this, just gives you that lovely, gorgeous effect. And it's kind of like cut through it, but obviously not cut. And because I've used both together, it's cut it and kind of embossed it at the same time. It's like an emboss with a cut in it, isn't it? I don't know what the official name for that is. Let's put those dies back safely. And then we need to do a little bit of stamping. So we need, I've got another spare bit here. We also need to do some embossing with this one. So let's put that to one side. And then for our stamping, getting stuff everywhere already. We need mounted up some stamps. So we've kind of got some foliage, got an elfie hair happening as well. I think this is like a bit like rosemary. And then this one makes me think of like a spinach or a lettuce leaf. You'll see them better when I stamp. Let's stamp some. Let's do a variety. So let's start with the old olive. And we'll do some of this one. I think I've already cut out some of these. If you know me well, you know that I love foliage. Let's do a few of those. Put that out the way. And then we'll do some mint, which could be just foliage. It turns into mint when you kind of put it inside or buy a glass that's got some sort of fruit by it. We'll do one of these as well. So we've just got a variety of foliage bits, and then we'll bring in a little bit of colour, and we'll do this berry burst. Has not had hardly any use. Look at it, it's virtually brand new. But we'll do one of these, a couple of these. It's such a lovely colour. And then with the strawberry slush, which is a new in colour coming, we'll do some fruit. We'll do some raspberries. When you first stamp with this, it almost looks quite luminous. Maybe that's just my eyes, how my eyes see it. It's very, very bright, but it kind of just sort of seeps into the cardstock. We'll do a few while we've inked it up. That will probably do for now. And then we need to cut some of these out. I have cut some out already, but let's just do a little selection. Just so you can see how lovely they cut. I never run through whole pieces when I'm die cutting, because your plates kind of leave a bit of an etched mark. This kind of like ingrains itself on your paper, and if you want to stamp on it again, then it's not quite the same. Right, we're going to cut out some of these. Let's bring this sheet back in. So you want that one, mint. I also want, I'm going to show you this beautiful die here as well. And then we've got some other bits to cut. That will fit on there. Put it at an angle like that, and then it will run through a little easier. Let's tape all of these bits down, because as soon as I turn around, they're going to move. So just line up the die, tape it down so it doesn't go anywhere, because usually as soon as I pick up that plate, everything moves. Bit more washi tape. Hey Shaz, how are you doing? You love Berry Burst. Yeah, it's a colour that I just don't use that often. I don't know why, because it's beautiful. I do know why. It's because I just like the subtle colours, isn't it? And it's quite bright. Like strawberry slush is quite bright for me, but in small doses. is quite beautiful. And that's the one thing I love about our pattern papers. When they bring out a set, it encourages me to use colours and kind of go out of my comfort zone a little. Right, the other thing I want from this set, I'm just looking at my sketch, I'm going to need some of these flowers. So we'll just plonk a couple of those on. I think that'll do because I've already got some cut. Let's get that top plate on. I'm going to turn it over because it's curved a little. Pick it up and I'm just going to run that through. So we've had some beautiful weather here in the UK, and this week we've got half term, so we've got the Easter holidays for the children for 2 weeks. And how sweet are these? Look what they cut. They're so cute. And of course the weather's deciding that it's going to make a change, and it's going to, we're going to have a little bit of rain, which we need some rain. We definitely need some rain, but not too much when the children are on their holidays. So we have a bank holiday on Friday, and we also have a bank holiday on Monday. So that's 2 working days that I'm going to lose, but we will get to see the family, pretty sure of that. And maybe an Easter egg hunt on Sunday. We'll see, weather depending. Jason and I are hoping to get a lot of work done out in the garden. Just putting all these dies back, making sure they're safe. So yeah, we're going to sit down later, make a plan of actually what we want to achieve in the garden this weekend, and also plan to go somewhere different, just go out for the day or do something. So this die here, let's get rid of that. It leaves in this gorgeous outer, which I'm not actually going to use on my layout, but I just wanted to show you. It comes with 2 dies. You gently get behind it. And I did make a card with this recently. I'm not sure if I've shared it on my socials yet, but and I used this frame, and then I literally put some tear and tape on the back so that they stuck together and stayed together. But this shape we're going to use. This we're going to save for something else. And we're going to do a little bit of embossing on here. I will need some more elements, but I've got a little pot that I did earlier with some bits and pieces in. So I want to emboss this. So let's just run. Which way round do I want it? Do I want that side? Yeah, let's have that side. So I'm just going to run that through like that. And we have to change our plates. Let me show you. So we need the number 1. We need a bottom plate because these embossing folders are much thinner. We want the folder and then we want the top plate. And we'll just run that through. Leave that one. Look at this. Oh my goodness, guys, this is just adorable. I love it. I can see me trimming out parts of it as well. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm going to run this one through as well. Where do we want it? I don't think it really matters. Oops, she says moving it. Let's put that one through. So what have we been up to? Shaz, did you have a family gathering? I was listening to your replay when you were having all that horrendous rain, which I think could be heading this way. Definitely looking like we're going to be having some April showers. So I've just embossed that lovely oval. I mean, on a card, how beautiful would that be? With just like a die cut flower or a stamped flower and a greeting. You don't need a lot when you've got beautiful backgrounds like that. Right, let's move those little flowers. Are we ready to start putting together? I think we are. So let's pull all our elements over here and let's start. Let's make sure you're in shot. Make a bit of room. Just want to make sure you're in. Just about got you in. So we're going to have a piece over this side, that one next to it, then our soft sea foam, followed by our DSP, which I'm not sure if I'm going to tuck it under there. We'll see. Then I'll go with our photo. Going to go here. Then this one, I'm just going to snip snip roughly around the edge. Oh, I can hear the birds singing. The doors are open downstairs. The birds are singing away. Have a quick look. Oh, hi, Belle, my lovely. You're on the dog walk. You're watching my process. I know we've all got a different way, haven't we, of how our scrapbooking layouts come together. But this is generally sort of how I work. I start off with some just pieces, and they could be scraps of paper that you've got. You know me, and I know you well as well. We like to use up our scraps, so you don't specifically have to cut pieces to size. Can you see how I've just trimmed along the edge? That one I'm going to just slide behind there. Right, I need to chop that one off because it is poking out too much at the bottom. Oh gosh, made a hash of that. It's better. It's white on white, so you won't really see. So we're going to slide that behind there. I need to just trim out this top bit. Just that bit there as well. So we're going to slide that under there. Like that, so it's just popping in. What's next? This one here, I'm going to slide that just behind my photo. This is the trouble, everything keeps moving until you stick it down. Right, which way looks best? Let's leave it there with that like white bit. They've both got a white bit. Don't think it matters. This is why I always design something ahead of the time of coming live, because I'm such a blooming faffer. I can faff all day. I know I'm not alone, but it just doesn't bring me joy to be faffing in front of people, faffing in company. Oh dear. So now I could turn this into a long drink, but let's just say we're not sure what it's going to be. It can be anything. It could be a long drink. I think it needs to be a long drink because I'm kind of turning this one into a drink to sort of replicate mine as well. So we're going to roughly be having, can you see that down there? that over there. Oh, I've cut into a piece that I didn't mean to. This is what happens, guys, when... Let's get another piece of white. I used the layer, when I cut that oval, I used a layer that I wasn't supposed to. So I've got myself this piece and it measures 4 inches by 5 inches, but that doesn't mean... Oh, Belle, I'm laughing at you. I'm your absolute favourite faffer, yeah. Oh dear. So this is going to be like my journaling spot that's going to hide behind here, that we're going to pull in and out at some point. So we're just going to tuck it behind there for now. Then these two down here are going to be full of goodness. So, oh, I also needed one of these, which is also from the Memorable Blooms collection. Sweet, the Impressions of Bloom. It's this one here. And we're going to have something going on over here, which looks a bit like... it's making me think of like a planter in the garden, but I'm not really sure how it's going to look because I've then got this huge drink next to it. So maybe we'd better not turn it into a planter. It's just going to be vegetation. Look, we're artists, okay? We can do whatever we want. There is no, we don't need a license to say that something has to be what it should be. This is going to go in as well. So it's some kind of majorly tropical drink going on here. And then in this one here, which I wanted to sort of replicate my drink of choice here, I was going to pop in some mint and some raspberries, because that was what was in, got another raspberry in here somewhere, in my drink here, and they were fresh raspberries that I picked. Here's another photo here. I picked from my garden, and the mint I also picked literally just outside of our back doors where we're sitting here. This area of the house here we call the snug, so the kitchen runs into the snug, and then here on my borders either side of my door are my herbs. So I have mint, although I've just ripped most of it out at the weekend. I have mint and chives, and I did have sage, but it took over, let's say. And there was also oregano, which has just taken over. And I just literally got Jason to dig the woody root out on Sunday because I've bought new herbs to go in there. I need to start afresh because it was just, if you know anything about gardening or anything, this oregano, the root on it, it got massive, and it was just like one big, almost like a tree root. It had gone right down deep, and it just taken over. So, and the theory of it is there's a bay tree over this side as well. The theory is that I can open up the doors, wander through the snug, open up the doors, pull some fresh herbs and snip some herbs and then cook with them, which I do. And then this border here, in fact, this photo shows my very dead peonies, bless them. So I've got peonies along here, but they look very brown there. I'm not very good with my peonies. And literally at the weekend, I've dug these green bushes out, these 3 green bushes. They're an evergreen, but they go brown and horrible. So I've dug them out and I've bought some new plants to go in. So just waiting for a bit of damp weather because the ground is so dry, and being able to dig into anything is like near on impossible. Right, this is the basis of my layout. Okay, let's take a look back at my sketch. So we've got our pieces of DSP here, we've got our panel behind, got our photo, This dottage means that there's going to be something, maybe some little flowers or something up there, and then we've got our, like our focal point of, which would normally for me be flowers, but this time we've got tropical drinks. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull all of this away, not that. I'm going to pull all of that away because that is the finishing touches. I'm going to slide this back in and we're going to start sticking. So we've got the basis. Now for me, a ruler, preferably a clean one would be good, but a ruler is my friend at this point because I want it to be straight. So I've got everything kind of in place where I want it to be. We need to keep that one there for a minute. And I'm just literally going to take my Tombow and I'm going to start on this side and I'm just going to lift up, and I hope you can see, is my Tombow going? I've just popped behind here some glue, okay? So that's going to be my first bit that I'm sticking. And I'm going to go by eye and measure the distance between, and it's 1 3/8 and 1 3/8. So I know that that piece, even though I moved it, is pretty straight. Then I'm going to check on the side here. We're about 1 inch. So this piece is still pretty straight. I'm going to hold it, and then I'm just going to pop another bit of glue down there. You might think I have absolutely lost the plot, sticking my layouts down like this, but this is how I feel. If I move it all off, I can take a photo of it now at this point, but it's kind of all in place. So I'm just kind of like sticking each bit down as we go. So we're going to now do this layer here. We could pull this one off now, and I've got to think about this. Let us think before we do that. I'll leave that one a minute, because under here we're going to have this sliding mechanism. So what I might do is trim this sliding mechanism. Here's my ruler. So that it kind of just hits the edge under here. So it's going to stop here. We'll trim it after. We'll trim it after. Ignore me on that fact. So we're all in place. Let's go back to where we were. That one's going to go just under there. So in theory, what we could do now is stick these two layers together like that. I'm going to stick these two together, but all I'm going to do, because I want this to come in and out here, I don't want it to go over there. It's only going to go in so far. I'm going to stick around the top and the left and the bottom. You could use tear and tape for this if it's easier, but also then I don't want this. I want to put glue on this bottom panel as well, because I don't want this to slide down. I want it to stay in this top section. So if we flip it over and we put glue on the top, down the bottom, and then roughly the bottom third, let's pick it up. We'll take that out. And then we'll pop it back down where it was. So we've got glue along the top and the bottom and this edge, but there's no glue behind here, but there's glue on this bottom bit down here. So we need to just let that dry for a minute. Whoops. And then it means this can slide in and out. Now it's definitely too long, so let's just make a little marker there. And we'll trim it off. And this length will depend on how big this piece is, as to how far you want, how far it needs to go in. So we could trim a little bit more off. Let's take just a tinsy bit more off. maybe just 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to take my corner rounder, which has now sadly retired. I just want to round the corners off. I'm hoping Stampin' Up! Will bring another one out of some description. So we've got a little pocket in there that's going to hold my journaling. Tombow on my fingers. And we're just going to pop it back into place and make sure that we're in. We can look here and here. We're centrally top and bottom. And then we're just going to pop this one straight over the top. There's nothing going behind this layer, so we don't need to think about how we're sticking it. It's literally just going over the top. And before it presses down completely, I will do a little measure, so just over 1 inch. It's a little bit high that side. And I'm going to stick down, not pressing too firmly down on that side, because I want to make sure I can wiggle this one around a little bit. So let's just measure that again. 1 inch and 1 inch. So I know that it's pretty square on my layout. This one it's in place, but I can wiggle it a bit because we put glue on the back of here. Now, the other thing I need to remember is this piece going under here. So we can stick that one right down now. We'll just pop it under there like that, just so it's popping out. We'll make sure this layer is square. So it's 1 3/8, no, 1 3/4 and a bit. 1 3/4 and a bit. So it looks pretty square on here. So these aren't measurements that you need to be following. I'm just checking. So this distance between here and here is 1 3/8. And I'm just checking that at the top here, it's 1 3/8, which it pretty much is. Now, because we've stuck that up there, I'm literally just popping glue. You can grab a scrap, put some glue on it, lift it up and just pop some glue. You don't need glue all the way around. This Tombow is pretty strong. It's not going to move. So now we've got like our base down on our layout, and then we can begin building. So we go in with our photo. I do quite like often to pop my photo on dimensionals, but I think for this reason I'm going to keep it flat. For now, just going to keep it flat, because if we add too much bulk, our scrapbook album is going to become very full and very bulky. But that being said, I do like my layers and I do like dimension as well. So we need to add in behind this one, this panel. So we'll do that first. So it's kind of about paper piecing for me. I just kind of lay it down, kind of wing it in a way. But I like to have my initial, let's make sure that oval is sort of straight. I like to have my initial, look at the reverse of that. It's just as beautiful on the reverse. I like to have my initial layout in front of me before I start sticking. I don't kind of like stick as I go, because then you'll find that you change your mind if you're anything like me. And then we're just going to pop Tombow on and get this layer done. It's just going to go down over towards the right hand side of this old olive panel. Like that. Okay, right, next we can start building up with these bits and pieces. So we'll start with this one. And we're going to add dimension to this, because I just need it to sort of pop up a little. take those backs off. And I'm going to be honest, I don't always add things like this to my scrapbook layouts. It's normally like flowers and foliage. Like if you look at the layouts I did for this month's class, like all of my decoration is flowers. And I've used them all throughout. It's just flowers and die cut foliage. It doesn't necessarily have to be loads of stamped things. And we all scrapbook differently. For me, I don't like a ton of photographs on my layout. I usually like 1 or 2 photographs to focus on that I can tell the story about. And I don't like a whole full page of stuff going on. I don't know why, that's just my style. I guess it's my clean and simple style. Right, so we've got our glasses going on down here. Let's just give these a bit of a curl. So this is mint. You could have stamped these onto old olive cardstock or the soft seafoam cardstock if we wanted to. Give these a bit of a curl. And I always think the hardest thing about scrapbooking is your journaling and creating your title. And titles can be created from anything. I was just browsing this morning. Instagram is my favourite place to browse, and believe me, I'm good at it. But it's so inspiring. It's just so inspiring what we see. And there was someone on there creating titles. She does like, what was it called? It was a bit like journaling in books. And she was creating titles using titles in magazines that she was just like cutting out and paper piecing. And it was so inspiring, so clever. It was kind of genius, the way she was doing it. I'm not sure how I'm putting these. Maybe like that. And a couple of raspberries. I feel like they need to go on a dimensional, but we don't need to make it pop anymore. So I'll pop those up. Nearly got Tombow on me. Maybe something like that. Hide the middle. So this is where the ice cubes, how big are the ice cubes? So they would have looked good stamped on here in the white, like I showed you on the pattern paper. And then this one here, which we're not really sure what it's going to be, whether it's a vase or just some kind of like leafy cocktail. It's just going to it's decoration. That's all it is. Let's add that over here. Put a couple of dimensionals on the ends of these just to make it pop a little. But yeah, we've all got our different way of scrapbooking. But me being me, I love layers. I might want to chop one of these down a bit. I love layers, and creating something simple is not really in my criteria. Maybe we'll bring you up a little bit. Pop you right down in there. Not really sure, but I'm fearful of faffing. Bring you up a little bit. And then pop you in. Bit of Tombow on the stem. So I'm just pulling all the colours together That's not too bad. That is like some really, oops, green. Maybe it's like a green juicy cocktail. Stay. Like a nice straw would be good. And you've also got the umbrella in here as well. And the pick that you could layer up with your olives. It's a very clever set. What's next? We just need to add, I don't want to put too much else on here. So we've just got this lovely texture going on. I did die cut some extra bits in here. We've got these cute flowers I was going to add. I did die cut some of these leaves, but I don't think we're going to need them. Don't know about those two. Let's add some white flowers in though, just because they're cute. I think we'll just put some over here, like popping out. Because I'm thinking about balance. We have to think, when we're scrapbooking, even when we're card making, we have to sort of think about balance and, you know, where your eye is going to be drawn to. And I'm not sure that I've really worked very well on that with this, but now I'm faffing, and that is not good. I wanted to put some little flowers up here. Maybe that'll do. Let's just 1, 2, 3. Bit too much glue behind that one, but and my favourite splat at the minute is this one here from the Everyday You and Me. Absolutely in love. Look how tiny it is. Let's see. Block. Absolutely adore it. You can't even see it. You'll see it when I stamp. So we'll add a bit of that in as well. And then I did a little bit of, started on a title. I was thinking about it. And I wanted it to be something that kind of related to Alfie. So basically, when I do my journaling on here, that's what I was going to do as well, actually. I've just picked up these the hole punch assortment. So I was thinking I could create a little ribbon slot on here. Here's the code if you want these. They're really cute, really good for making like your own little gift tags. 165409. I think they're about £20. They come as a set of 3. We haven't had mini punches like this for a very long time, so we need you all to buy them so that Stampin' Up will keep them and think about bringing us some more back. Now, if we were to go in blind, let us think where we might want this. We're thinking, so I want to put the slider. I should have it in the middle really, but I'm feeling like I want it at the top. So we're thinking about there. So rather than going in blind, is that quite straight? That is quite straight. We'll just use that little line and hope that it's straight. That's not bad. So, and then what I would do is tie some ribbon through there. We'll have a little bit of splattage going on over there, but I'm not sure what colour. Maybe old olive, or maybe just sea foam. I feel like I need to bring in some colour from over here. Hi Vicky, how are you doing? Good evening to you. It's good evening, isn't it? Yeah, I'm in the right right vicinity. Where am I going? Oh, I was going to think about doing a bit of a title. So I've mounted up the Happy With You. I've got some really skinny strips of card. I did cut some out somewhere. What did I do with them? Here they are. So I'm going to use the Secret C. I'm quite a long way away because I've zoomed you right out. I use this really skinny one. Come out the way. I'm going to stamp that one down. Excuse me. I had a real sore throat for a couple of weeks. Thankfully it's not really turning into anything. A bit sniffy, but I don't know whether I've got hay fever coming. So my little man here, I'm always happy when I'm with him. He's always happy when he's by your side. And at this point, I'd sat down, I think it was a weekend. It was in June last year. We'd been working out in the garden, and then it's kind of like just have a sit down, a little cheeky gin with some fresh raspberries from the garden, and Alfie sits, and so at the side of the house here there's a gap. We've got there's hedgerows around here, which makes it like quite a cozy little place, but you can see right up to the gate from where Alfie's sitting, and he just sits and watches. If I'm down in my veg patch, he just lies and like is fixated with the gate to see if anyone is coming. Right, I'm just going to clean off that stamp I used and swap it with something else. So maybe at this moment, as I said, this stamp set is reduced down to £9. And with my scrapbooking, I do try and use titles, create titles using stamps if I can. So these are just like statements. Happy with you, this moment. And then we could have, let us think, what have I got around me? Without wanting to go to all of my greeting sets. Could be something like this one. Thinking of you brings a smile to my face. And then my story will be on here. You bring so much joy and laughter to my life. That would be another good one. So that's just a wordy stamp set. We do also have, these are more greetings though, I think. But I was thinking like, oh, happy day. You know, you'll find your titles from all sorts of places. But that wasn't right for me. So, a set that's just recently retired. Two that are going actually. This one's on the last chance list, which obviously isn't good for this layout, but this one's got some really good sort of words that you could use for titling. And don't forget, you've also got your printer. You can print off your own titles. This one has just retired with the celebration. So this is a great one for scrapbooking. I love this one. So what a wonderful day. And that can go for any kind of layout. It doesn't have to be specific. I do love my Alphabet Alamode set. And I do quite often pull to this one for my titles. But I'm trying to think that I might have to do that after and then show that with you. Because this is the process that takes a long time. Let's get a bit of ribbon or something around there. And then I think we're nearly done. The title does finish it, I will say that. Let's just stick these. And then they're in place. And I do like to pop like lots of little tabs. So I got any die cut pieces on here? I had some earlier. Where did I put them? So bits, just bits, like die cut bits like this that I will like wedge behind layers. I mean, they're stuck now, but I would cut them in half and just wedge them behind. And then like little labels, I finish with things like that. You know, sometimes less is more, but I'm not very good at the whole less is more. But like this set is perfect for adding on bits. So Belle, you're gonna pick V. Catch me up on the replay. That's great, lovely. I will catch up with you later. Thanks for stopping by. So let's just pop a couple of dimensionals behind these. That will just fit behind there. Oop. And then we're going to need a skinny strip on the other one because it's a bit narrower. I absolutely love scrapbooking. I know I'm not alone, but I think if you're new to it, it could be a little bit daunting, thinking that you've got to fill this whole space, this whole 12 by 12 sheet with stuff. But quite honestly, the majority of it is just like layers of paper. So we're going to leave it at that. I will work on my title later. I'm going to pop a bit of ribbon behind here. If I can find something that works, it might just have to be something natural. I've got tons of ribbon in here, but might just have to be something very neutral that will tie in with this. Let's just cut a strip and see what it looks like. And then what I would most likely do, thread it through. You could put a bit of put a glue dot on there. Let's try that. Bit of tear and tape, or you could pop a staple through it. I quite like using staples. Oh. It's gone all stretchy. Stick that down. Yeah, quite like using a staple. Let's trim that a bit. And then we'll do, so if you don't even want your writing on here, you could just on a Word document type your bit of journaling that goes on there. You could add, got some new bling on here. Could add some new, you know, not new bling, but bits of bling if you wanted to. Honestly, you could go on and on. And I'm a bit annoyed that I haven't got a completed layout with a title for you. What I might do is pull in my crumb cake and just finish off with a little bit of, make sure that is clean. Just a little bit of, and it's at this point, you don't want to ruin your layout, so be very careful about how you do this. And then we'll just pop another couple over here. You'd be surprised how powerful this dottage is. It just really finishes off. So that's my basic layout. That looks a little bit crooked, but we'll move that. My title, if I was using a big title, let's say it was big, something like day, like that kind of size font, it would be going up here. That's kind of like where my area is, what I'm visualizing for my title. So I will look at that and then share it with you when I've done it. So, and then my story is going to be about Alfie. how he just loves to kind of like wait for people to come, just lazing around in the garden, just watching and waiting to see who's going to turn up. So I hope you've enjoyed this process. It's a bit of a mishmash of how I put it together, but it's how I like to do it. Like I've said, you could take a photo, lay it all out, and then take a photograph of it, and then take all your pieces off and stick each bit down individually. But I always think while your bases are there, while these 4 pieces, you can kind of keep them in place with what you do. Keep them in place and just stick them as you go. I'm now looking and thinking like, you could have a bit more foliage over here to kind of bring it together. We'll see, work in progress. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of scrapbooking with me today. As I said, I am trying to think about how I can do a bit of scrapbooking online so that you can join along with me. That is in my thought process at the moment. So we will see what happens with that. So anyway, but for now, I've been on here way long enough. My next mission is to create some cards using this stamp set. So, because it's really very cute, very sweet. Not just about drinks, okay? It's not just about drinks. Think about mixing and matching it with something flowery as well, for sure, so that you could turn these into planters and things like that. So anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you. It's time for another coffee and a Powerball to keep me going, and I'll be back with you all very, very soon. So don't forget to check out the last chance list. You might be able to pick yourself up a bargain like this one, down to just £9.50. So there's some really great things on there, so don't miss out. We're halfway through the month already, and some things have gone too. So right, I will see you again. Thank you again for stopping by. If you're on the replay, please let me know that you've been here. Oh, hi Jill, just catching you there. You enjoyed watching the process. Bless you, you're so kind. I feel like it was a bit of a mishmash, but it's how I do it, it's how I work. But that sketch, starting with that sketch, is important as far as I'm concerned. Definitely important. So, because you've got somewhere to go, you know where you're going with a sketch. So I'm going to say goodbye finally for the 4th time, and I'll be back with you all very soon. So please take care wherever you are, and stop by and say hello, and message if you've got any questions. Drop me a message. So take care and bye for now.